Hi, and welcome to Bacon and Eggs.
I'm still Ethan Edgehill.
And I am still Tyler Carlin.
Really? Are you? I'm surprised.
Yep.
I thought you'd be somebody else this time.
Nope.
Oh, that's unfortunate. This is our weekly podcast where we talk about some of our favorite movies.
And anything else on our minds.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for a brand new episode.
Or you could be tuning in like 30 seconds after the last one finished. I realize now that line doesn't really make any sense. Either way, this is a brand new episode.
I mean, it's for people that are like binging us, that have never heard anything before. They started with Iron Man 1 like 8 hours ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I just want to let them know that like it's okay to do that.
It is okay. But it's still a brand new episode.
It is. But if this is your first time joining us, we recommend you go ahead and take a listen to any of our first 6 episodes.
Way more than 6.
This
There's
is
11.
the same thing we explained last week.
Stranger Things.
Okay, listen. We went over this. It's because the big intro was in the first 6 episodes. That tells you everything about our childhood and the movie theater, and we got yelled at for doing that 6 times.
I don't think nobody said a word to me.
I had a lot of people say words to me about it. Like, are you going to keep doing the intro every single week that says you're only going to do it once? And I'm like, yep, I am.
Every time.
Believe it or not.
Well, we'll tell you a little bit about who we are in that.
And what we do.
And what this podcast is. Did you ever notice this intro is kind of like one of those answering machines from the 90s?
Hi, this is Tyler.
And this is Ethan.
And we are out.
Click.
That was
just
my
like
whole
that.
goal, yeah. That was my point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. Anyway, it'll give you some great background on what you're about to hear.
But regardless, welcome. We are so glad that you've joined us.
We make absolutely no promises about how long this intro will stick around, which is why I wrote it this way.
So buckle up, because we're about to dive in.
Keep singing the Vine song.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Tyler, what did you think of The Matrix Reloaded?
I watched The Princess Diaries instead.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. We're great. Okay,
Yeah.
So, Mia Thermopolis. What a card.
I can't believe you caught that.
I had to reach deep down in the recesses of my brain to not say Princess Buttercup.
No, Ethan, what I watched was neither of those movies.
Did you watch Guardians of the Galaxy?
I did
Hey,
watch
we gotta
Guardians
write
of the
this
Galaxy.
week. Yes.
But here's a fun fact. I looked at our script here, and I almost said I did watch Iron Man 3, which I did not watch.
But it doesn't even say that in the script.
It does say it.
Anyway.
Speaking
of
that's
stats.
what it's saying. Yes, this movie was released August 1st, 2014, which is approximately like 1,000 days ago, I guess. I have no idea.
I forgot to write it. Hang on a second.
But it had a budget.
Give me some elevator music here while I Google this.
Anyway, this is 1,209 days ago.
That's so many days.
That is a lot of days. That's like 4 years and 9 days in my mind, because years are 300 days.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, had a budget of $232.3 million, which I think might be the most.
Yes. The Avengers budget was $220 million, so it is the biggest.
Huh. What do you know? Yeah, Chris Pratt fella, he was on Parks and Rec. He's much more valuable than that guy who played Iron Man.
I mean, Parks and Rec had some pull. Let's just be real here. They had Barack f***ing Obama on Parks and Rec.
Was he really?
Yeah. The whole family was. It was like Barack and Michelle and Joe Biden, all of them.
I mean, Amy Poehler's got pull.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Parks and Rec had some clout.
It's about the cones, Ethan.
It's about the cones.
Anyway, the movie made $773.3 million worldwide, which is still $500 million less than Iron Man 3, but it's still a ton of money.
Yeah,
It is a ton of money. It was received really, really well.
Got a 91% critic on Rotten Tomatoes, a 92% audience on Rotten Tomatoes, and here is the kicker. The stat to end all stats, it got a 76 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Holy fucking shit.
This movie put that on the fridge. Like,
yeah.
The director, I don't remember. James Gunn. James Gunn went home.
How do you not remember this?
I just keep thinking of Kevin Feige. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Keep thinking of him. He's a producer.
He's in the opening credits.
Yeah. But, like, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like,
no small sum.
I feel like it won. Like, it beat Metacritic. Like, I've been rooting for these movies.
And it won.
Yeah. It did well.
And the solution was 70s and 80s music and a comedy actor.
Apparently that's the solution.
I'll tell you, before we even get into it, well, actually, I'll wait till we get into it. But yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're getting into it. Everybody who was like ready to get into it, you're gonna have to wait for Ethan to say whatever's next. Because I don't know what it is.
What do you mean,
Ethan? There's the next bullet point here says feedback. So listener follow up from last week. Exciting news. I guess I'm just gonna keep talking. Last week we asked you to help us rank the third movie overall, whether it was Winter Soldier or the first Avenger. And I put a Twitter poll out today as of recording, and I will say this. Winter Soldier, my pick, blew First Avenger out of the water. But the official poll was on our Facebook group, which you can join at Bacon and Eggs Fans on Facebook. You can search it. You can look at the link in the description.
I won.
And Ethan won. So just who dat?
I win. Hoot Squad.
Hoot Squad. Just to give you a little an idea of. I just want to pull up some figures for you, Ethan. If I recall correctly, there were 3 votes total in our Facebook group. So anybody who's out there is like, oh, this Facebook group's probably huge. Nobody ever interacts with anybody. It's not. There's like 12 members. We are having a ton of fun. Had about 3 votes in this poll. So maybe people don't interact with anybody. But whatever. Had about 3 votes. And I voted for my movie.
It had 4 votes.
You voted for your movie. Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Is it a tie?
Sure. No. Pretty sure it's 3-1. The official vote goes to Captain America and the Winter Soldier being in 4th place. For now. That being said, I just to give you an idea, my Twitter vote, which doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything, but it matters to me. It got 154 votes. Hey, you really got the
Winter
participation
Soldier
trophy
winning.
There, man.
Winter Soldier winning.
I'm just
by
saying.
a lot.
I got the game ball. You got the participation trophy there.
I think I participated harder than you. But whatever.
Okay. I made the poll, for starters. I asked you how to make the poll, and you read. And you texted me back like 6 hours later.
What did I say? I don't know.
Nothing. You just changed the topic.
I know, but also, so we want to talk about the movie. We're going to go into our B-side here. We want to start by talking about the characters, because I think the characters in this movie are what make the film. Like, the chemistry is what it's really all about.
Right, and we have a lot of characters that were new. Well, all the characters were new, but it's like the first time it hasn't been built off like established kind of.
It's the first time we get a bunch of
going
characters.
On. Yeah, a bunch of new characters, bunch of
like a bunch of the new heroes, I should say.
It's basically like the Avengers if we didn't know anything about any of the Avengers.
Right. So we want to talk about that. And essentially when it comes down to it, the movie is about like 5 criminals defending Xandar
against evil
because they did.
Wow, I just figured out the whole, like, it's never really occurred to me like why we're supposed to like these characters or anything before this, and then I just said that out loud, that I was like, they're criminals but they're defending the world against evil.
Yeah, that's it.
I never like caught. I like this movie a lot better now. I never caught that before. Like, just because they're criminals doesn't make them evil. Like, good people can do bad things and evil people don't do good things.
So we got a bunch of characters. Let's run through all of them. We've got number 1, Pete Quizzy, Peter Quill, main character of the movie, Chris Pratt. What do you think of Peter Quill?
I think, I don't really know, honestly. I love him and I hate him sometimes.
I don't hate him at all. What I like about Peter Quill in this movie is that he is like the well-rounded, sort of centralized, keep the story together kind of character.
Right,
but he's also hilarious.
And that's the thing, is like sometimes I feel like he's in his element, he's doing things that are funny, and sometimes I feel like he's like on his own just trying to drag the story along at any costs.
I'll agree with that. He is, one thing I love about this movie is all the action sequences, everybody has a very distinct fighting style.
Right.
And he is like smooth but clumsy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Every time.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. He's the kind of guy that like does a really slick dance move and then trips.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my...
The one thing I do like about Peter is he's the only one that doesn't seem like he's in his element ever.
Well, because he's from Terran.
Right. He is not in his element at all, but everybody else is 100% in, especially Drax, like 100% in.
Oh, I disagree about Drax. I think Drax is the only one that, outside of Peter Quill, that like, I mean, they all develop and they all become somebody else by the end of the movie, but I think Drax has one of the more...
Oh, Drax definitely does the most developing.
Yeah.
But he does his developing by just throwing himself straight at whatever happens.
Correct. That's who he is, man.
And that's what I'm saying, is like, on one hand, he doesn't develop at all. Like, nothing changes about him whatsoever. He doesn't learn anything. On the other hand, he learns everything. He learns about friendship and like having fun and what fun is, and, using his powers for good. On the other hand, he still just takes everything literally.
Right.
Which I'm not complaining. It sounds like that came across very harshly. It sounded like I was complaining about Drax. Not at all. I love Drax.
Moving on to our next character, we've got Rocket in this movie. I want to talk about Rocket real quick because I think Rocket doesn't get enough attention in the community.
Yeah, I did not like Rocket the first time I saw this movie. I thought he was kind of annoying and kind of like the movie was supposed to be about him and it wasn't about him.
Here's what I thought about Rocket. It was going into it, I seen the previews and I was like, I'm going to like Rocket Raccoon. That's going to be a character I connect with, and I'm going to have like a Rocket Raccoon t-shirt, and it's going to be like a thing. Like, people know Ty likes Rocket. That's like the heroes he
100% agree with that. I feel that on a spiritual level.
And then the movie came out, and all of the merch, everything was not about Peter Quill.
It was about Groot.
It was all about Groot.
It's about Groot.
Everything Groot.
Yeah.
And Groot was a good enough character, sort of, I guess. He didn't really have a lot of...
He's Chewbacca.
Which is fine. But like, Rocket Raccoon in this movie is... Like, everybody talks about Vin Diesel in this movie and how playing Groot was this huge, big part of his life after Paul Walker died, and it was like a big deal for him to play this part and really get through this tough time. I think that was why they said that, right?
Yeah, it was.
This was around that time.
When he did an interview that was just like, this is the most out of my element I've ever been.
But he literally, like, he said it 1,000 times, and he recorded it in all these different languages, and he did all that, and that's great. And I'm super happy for you, Vin. Your name, if you rearrange the letters, spells I end lives, which is super cool. But Bradley Cooper does not deserve enough credit for this movie.
No, he doesn't get enough credit.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves. Yeah, no.
Doesn't get the credit he deserves.
If I did not know, if it was not very well advertised that Bradley Cooper was playing Rocket, I would not have known. I would have no idea. I would have thought it was like Paul Giamatti.
You're just some really good voice actor.
Yeah, some like vaguely New York, like Italian kind of guy, not Bradley Cooper. I would have no idea.
He did an amazing job. And not only that, Rocket has some tough scenes. He's got the scene where he like is drunk and he really opens up about how he cares what people think of him, and everybody's calling him a rodent.
The end when Groot dies and he's just weeping.
Yeah, he's just extremely emotional about that. And then he's got like the part where he disagrees with Quill when they're making the plan, and he's, he wants to be the leader because he always has been with Groot, and he doesn't know how to adapt to this new environment. I think I first wanted to love Rocket as a character, saw the movie, and didn't feel like I could because the whole community just kind of wrote him off. And now, rewatching, and I've seen the movie tons of times. This is one of my favorite movies, just outside of the whole being a cinephile thing. This is just a movie I genuinely enjoy watching.
So, I just looked this up because I was curious as to how it kind of worked. Because it is not Bradley Cooper playing Rocket, it is just Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket. Mm-hmm. And Bradley Cooper recorded the parts after the movie was filmed.
Okay.
Like, I just think that's incredible that he was able to kind of pull it off.
When you got also remember if I don't know how it works on the back end, but it was like after the movie was filmed, was he already animated or did they have to?
No, I don't think I don't think like facial like lip syncing was animated. I think they can do that afterwards.
Okay.
But Vashaun Gunn, who is I guess James Gunn's kid, played Rocket like on set.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and just basically walked around on his knees all day, every day, in a mocap suit.
All I'm saying is Rocket, this time around, really paying attention to the movie and caring about the characters is, I think, my favorite character in this movie.
I would agree with that. I think the character ages very well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe just going from being a little bit younger,
right,
and then having some tough experiences in my life, and then being able to relate with Rocket when he has that drunk scene and when he has...
And that's what I'm saying.
Trying to be the leader in an unfamiliar environment.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Bradley Cooper deserves those kudos. Is he's like talking to a television, essentially, like getting emotional with a television of a movie that's already filmed.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, the dude deserves.
And I mean,
much. I
guess that was the way it was always done. That like in animated movies before Monsters Inc., voice actors just kind of recorded by themselves and just said all their lines.
Is that true? Are you about to drop some movie knowledge on me?
Yeah. No, Billy Crystal and John Goodman, I don't know if they were the first, but they were the first like high profile movie to be like, we can't do this in sound booths by ourselves. Like, we got to be in the same room together to do Mike and Sully.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like,
it's funny because
Toy Story, like Tim Allen and Tom Hanks never saw each other.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because in Rick and Morty are voiced by the same person.
Same person, yeah.
And same with like Family Guy is like, Seth MacFarlane does like half the characters.
Seth Rollins does like everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were that was the way it was just done back then, I guess. And like there's the Aladdin. They just basically gave Robin Williams like a room full of props and just kind of said, go nuts and we'll write the movie around you. Like,
that was super well done though. You got to give him
I mean,
mad props for the way Aladdin came out.
It's the same thing with like Caddyshack. Like, you can't give Robin Williams a script and expect it to come out that fluid and that hilarious.
Well, that was Bill Murray, but yeah.
No, I'm saying I said it's the same thing with Caddyshack, like as with Caddyshack.
Gotcha.
Like Bill Murray was not given a script for Caddyshack at all.
The Llama.
He had directions as to like
great golf player. The Llama.
Scene directions. Like Carl is chopping the heads off flowers, and we get the like Cinderella Man. At Augusta, that whole scene was Carl is chopping the heads off flowers.
Anyway, so that's my view on Rocket. I think probably my favorite character.
Rocket. Great character.
In fact, maybe I'll get a Rocket tattoo one of these days.
I don't know about that.
Would just give me like a milestone we'd have to hit, and I'll think about it.
Oh man, I don't know. I think out of all the Marvel characters you get, you're gonna get Rocket Raccoon. I don't know about that, man.
Anyway, moving on to our next character, Groot.
I don't have that much to say about Groot, honestly. Groot's cool, but he's Chewbacca. He's just like...
Groot's Chewbacca.
He's Rocket's sidekick. Big.
He's cool.
Break stuff. Like, is a good fighter, but like doesn't really say much, and only Rocket can understand him.
I was watching this movie, and what I love about Groot is that he really doesn't have much of a part in the final fight scene, except of course for being like the big ball they survive in. But as far as like the actual fight with the bad guys, he has like no part in fighting Ronan. He has very little part in fighting the goons, except he does. But I think the whole goons were there. I even made a note of it when we get there, is that like, well, these are just here so that there's something, like there's a fight scene for the sake of a fight scene.
It's almost like they had to write Groot in like last minute.
Oh no, I disagree. I think he was very well integrated. He felt like he was supposed to be part of it.
Really? I honestly don't. Like, even Rocket says that thing of like, typical Groot. Asleep for the damage, but awake for the payoff.
I like Groot because
I'm not hating on Groot, but
he rips the battery out of the wall, and he does that.
Yeah, but that's like a background thing. Like, a lot of his stuff happens kind of subtly, and I'm not upset about it. I think he did his part very well, but he almost feels like a last minute addition.
I'm so surprised you said that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the vibe I got. Now the battery thing was hilarious.
So yeah,
I love a good take like that where they're like describing the thing that's got to happen. Like, while it's happening accidentally.
Yeah.
Like, Rocket was just like, we need the battery. And Groot just goes and gets it. He's like rambling on to Peter about how it's going to be impossible to get. It's in the tallest guard tower in the middle of the most guarded room in the prison. Like, we absolutely have to get it last. And he pulls the thing out and he goes, I will get it first then.
And then there's the whole thing where they like steal the guy's leg and she gets the thing out of the guy's arm.
I know. And Rocket lasts for like 10 minutes.
I can't believe he did it.
I can't believe he did it. He got the leg. And Peter's like, I had to transfer that guy 30,000 units.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money since they were willing to kill Peter for 40,000
For 40,000. Yeah.
He's like, we're going to be rich, Groot.
Amount. We're going to kill him for 40 grand. But yeah, Groot, I mean, I like Groot. I think I'm all about the hype. Groot is, he's an emotional character. He only says 5 words in the whole movie. He grunts a few times.
5 words.
Yeah,
I do. You did mention this earlier, and I think it is really cool when actors do this. And I get it was only 5 words, but it's cool when actors like record their voice lines for other languages.
Oh yeah, I think that's super
because
cool.
I've watched animated because I was a Spanish major in college. I've watched animated movies that I had seen before in Spanish, and it's super weird hearing different voices.
How long do you think it would take to say I am Groot 1,000 times? I don't think it would take that long.
Yeah, probably a day.
Yeah, I mean...
Vin Diesel was probably in the booth for like maybe 2 days.
Oh, I doubt it. I bet he was there for a while.
I don't know. He only had 5 words.
How frustrated do you think like the director would be if they were like, we need you to say I am Groot right here. And he messed it up like 200 times. Like, do you they're always like, he said it over 1,000 times. It was this huge feat of voice acting. It was amazing. James Gunn is like, Vin Diesel is the worst voice actor of all time.
That's why they had him say it 1,000 times.
He said it 1 time. Like, he said the line 1,000 times. He had to say it 8. Like, what a freaking idiot.
I'm pretty sure that they hadn't even written the movie yet when they did that. There's no other reason for him to say, like, if they had done the same thing they did with Rocket, where they like had Bradley Cooper record the lines after the movie was filmed, there would be absolutely no reason for him to say I am Groot 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure they went in and they were like,
I am Groot.
We're gonna get Vin Diesel to say I am Groot a lot because he's in LA. He's like at the studio already. We want him to do this movie. We just hired him. We're gonna bring him in and just have him say I am Groot as many times as he feels comfortable with, so we have a lot to work with.
You think that's what
I'm pretty sure. And there was probably some sound editor being like, oh man, he said I am Groot really good right here. I'm gonna flag this, throw it in somewhere.
Yeah. I don't. Was that like just his voice? It was obviously mixed, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't think he was sitting there like, I am Groot.
I am Groot.
Yeah, it was probably affected.
I like grown-up Groot better than Baby Groot. There, I said it. Sorry.
I mean, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to like know what Baby Groot is like. Isn't he?
Well, you saw him at the end of this movie.
I mean, he just danced.
He's adorable.
He is adorable. Like, I would have a little dancing Groot like in the planter thing on my desk if somebody was to like mail me one.
Anyway, on to our next character, Drax. Drax is in this movie.
I have actually met Dave Bautista.
Have you really?
I have. So when I was at the summer camp where I worked, I also worked with Mike Bautista, who is Dave Bautista's little brother.
What? No
Yeah,
way.
dead serious.
You're lying.
No, and I thought
now.
this dude was lying until Dave Bautista showed up one day.
Here's the thing about Dave Bautista is he's an actor who was in one of the most successful series of all time.
You talking about
WWE.
WWE Raw?
And it was a big deal that he got a role in a movie. I don't know. That just doesn't add up to me. I feel like they always talk about he got this role and he cried and he wept and he was so proud of himself. It's like, well, you're an actor and you went to an audition.
I don't know, man.
And you got the part.
If I was an actor and I got a part in a Marvel movie, I'd be freaking stoked.
Listen,
are you kidding me?
Jive
Like,
with you there.
I would cry and weep and stuff. Like if I got to go be in a movie with Chris Pratt and Bradley Cooper and like be in Marvel and know that I never had to do anything else for the rest of my life and I could probably just make it on that alone.
I hear you, but like he's an actor who went to an audition and got a part.
Okay, but like WWE also didn't pay that well when he was in it.
How long ago was he in WWE?
A while ago. I like Drax. He's a cool character. He's got this thing where he takes everything literally. Like he doesn't get metaphors.
It's a fun bit.
It's a fun bit.
Joke.
In the end, he tries to use a metaphor, and it just like it's funny because it's like not a metaphor.
And they kill the dude from Never Back Down.
Jamin Hansu?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think you and I were the only people that like that movie.
What, Never Back Down? It's literally a ripoff of the Fast and the Furious
Yeah, no,
Tokyo
it's
Drift.
terrible, but like
And we are the only people that liked that movie.
Love that movie. I love Never Give Up. Never back down. Oh, I could watch that movie all day long.
Oh, it had a great soundtrack. It had like red jumpsuit apparatus. And
it had like a pop punk soundtrack. It had like, it had that 12 Stone song or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You said you know just who
Yeah, classic.
Oh man, yeah, Jamin Hansu. He's also the guy from Blood Diamond.
Ooh, Blood Diamond. You can talk about a good movie.
Oh yeah.
Drax, I mean, excellent character. I think we've basically said everything there is to say about him.
Good job. Moving on. Rolling right into it. That green chick, Gamora. Zoe Saldana, who apparently only likes to be painted colors to be in movies.
That's what I love about Zoe Saldana.
She's not afraid to be painted colors.
She actually preferred to in the, they said they were gonna just
let her ride in Star Trek.
Well, they were gonna CGI her green, and then she was like, no, we're doing the makeup. Yeah. So she did the whole makeup, 5 hours a day.
No complaints about Gamora.
Yeah, Gamora's very cool.
At the same time, I don't have a whole lot to say about Gamora. Like, she's kind of the weird love interest for Peter Quill, but like, whatever.
Oh, I like her. She does the little dance thing at the end. Yeah. She shows she develops.
Yeah, she gets into it.
Only complaint is that she's like, Ronan killed my father, or Thanos killed my father, and I came from a normal world, and I love people. And then Quill's like, well, let's dance. And she's like, I am a machine. I was bred to kill by Thanos. It's like she almost... And I was like, that's inconsistent within the same scene. Like, you don't want to be the person you claim to be.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And she almost, like, double agents too easily, in my opinion. Like, she's there. She's trying to get the orb and, like, beats the crap out of Peter and puts him in the like, rappy things and then takes him and gets the orb. And then she gets caught and she's like, oh man, I never wanted any of that. Like, I just want to beat Thanos. Like, I don't want to be Thanos.
Right.
And like, I don't know what happens to her in the second one, but I'm concerned about her motives here.
So the second one, just imagine everything that made this one cheesy, amped up.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I had good. Because you texted me like the day after it came out or whatever, and you're like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, boo. And I was like, man, if he didn't like it, I'm not going to like it. I didn't even like the first one.
Yeah, you were wrong about that, though.
We'll get there. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot to say about Gamora. She's good. She's good. She did what she had to do. She's a love interest.
I think she's a
quasi-villain.
Her whole role in the movie was to be like the serious, level-headed one, but I think she's a little too serious.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like, I guess she couldn't be funny, but she didn't have to be.
But that's like Zoe Saldana's shtick, though. It's like she was like that in Avatar. She was like that in Star Trek.
Can I just sidebar real quick? People who didn't like Avatar are just rude. Okay, the movie was good.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Everybody saw it. A lady died watching it in Thailand because the special effects were so crazy.
No, it was beautiful.
People need to come back down to earth, being like Avatar wasn't good.
Avatar was the weirdest thing, is because like everybody loved it for like 3 months, and then it came out on DVD, and nobody was watching it in the theaters anymore. with the 3D glasses, because it was like the first 3D movie or whatever.
Spy Kids 3D.
The first like real D movie that like made a difference.
Where it was about depth as opposed to like things jumping out.
Right. Yeah, the first real D thing. And then they got it home and started to kind of unpack it a little bit, and everybody turned on it.
I was so mad.
They're just like,
I remember.
And I get it. The story has some holes. Like, it's a kind of a bad Pocahontas ripoff. But whatever. Like, I'll move past that immediately just because they could write whatever they want. Literally, the characters could just sit there and go, yeah.
You know what's crazy about that movie is you and I saw it in theaters, I think like 7 times.
Bunch,
like
man,
an obscene number of times.
$13 every time.
And I think we only saw it in HD once. And that was the first time you and I tried vlogging. Was when we saw that movie.
I remember that because there was like I had a Flip Minnow HD or whatever.
Yeah, dude, those were awesome.
And I still have it. I still have it. It still works. But I remember getting to the car and popping it out and be like, Tyler, what'd you think of that movie? And he goes, and you were like, I said, he goes, like, I'm not talking to you. You're like, it was top 5 movie all time.
It was so good.
And
People are so mean to it.
I don't agree that it's top 5 all time. Like, that was a in the moment high thing. Like, it's not in my top 5.
Well, yeah.
At all.
Well, yeah, but it was exceptionally good.
No, and it was so cool. Like, we are so far off the rails at this point. That's fine. Avatar gets a bad shtick. That's all I'm saying. As soon as the next 5 come out all at one time, people are going to flip and lose their minds.
What'd you think of Nebula?
Oh, I hate Nebula.
Oh my god.
I didn't like Nebula. Why can't I talk?
Karen Gillan. You and I
used to
Doctor
love
Who
Karen
fans.
Gillan. Loved her.
In that era.
I loved her. And I'll tell you why. Because she was cool. She was Amy Pond. She was the first Doctor Who companion I watched. And I was like, man, she's really pretty. She's fun in this part. She does great. And then she left and they got Jenna Louise Coleman. I was like, Karen Gillan who?
Right. Jenna Louise Coleman. Way, way better.
100% better in every way. And Karen Gillan has not been worthwhile in any movie since then.
She wasn't good in the Selfie TV show. She wasn't good in this movie. In fact, in this movie, literally, like, this is the only thing that I think is a sticking point in this movie. And I wish I could just move past it and be like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. But literally every time she was on screen and she had lines, or even if she didn't have lines, I like cringed. Like I have an important question for you.
Really important question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to choose, you had to know this question was coming. If you had to choose between Maria Hill or Nebula,
I think I would choose Maria Hill.
You would choose Kobe Smulders.
You have to understand how bad I think.
No,
Nebula
I agree with
is.
that 100%. I would absolutely choose Kobe Smulders because she can at least like fight properly and not get her ass beat every time.
Well, Nebula has a pretty good fighting style, but if you put Kobe Smulders in this movie,
because she's a villain.
If you put Kobe Smulders in this movie in the place of Nebula, and we're just like, yeah, Kobe Smulders after the first Avengers went through the hole with the Chitauri or whatever, and you just wrote that off, and she was like working with Thanos, I'd be all about it.
Oh, yeah, she went to work with Thanos and became a villain. Like, I'd be so much better.
It would be way better, as opposed to Nebula, who was played by Karen Gillan, who ruined the part.
Yeah, she was just an unnecessary character, too. Like, Ronan didn't really need a crony.
Yeah, he didn't.
He had the hammer. He was very clearly like, I can go do this on my own. Like, I don't need anybody.
Yeah, and he could do it on his own.
Speaking of, I don't even want to talk about Nebula anymore. She was that bad. We're going to move on to Ronan.
Ronan. Who plays Ronan?
I
Exactly.
have no idea.
You don't even have to answer.
No, I mean, I know you told me earlier. I've already forgotten his name.
Yeah, nobody.
He's a nobody.
I mean,
he's
cool. Somebody.
Like,
I'm sure he's somebody. Yeah, and
when you get like a flagship villain in a Marvel movie, and you're like nobody, that's tight. Good for you, man. He did good.
Yeah, as far as actors who played in Doctor Who and now played in these movies, and he wasn't one of those. Just to backtrack for a second, Chris Eccleston was better.
Oh yeah, well okay. Chris Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor was better than Karen Gillan as Amy Pond.
That's true. It's fantastic. He had bananas. But I really like Ronan. If you're going to introduce a villain in an American movie series, regardless of what universe it is in or what galaxy it's in, and the first line about him is, they describe me as terrorist.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. No,
you've sold the American people.
Great. Because, well, first of all, they had to introduce a villain that was disposable.
Yeah, and like very clearly the bad guy.
Right. Because
like you couldn't possibly agree with his
because
motives.
He's not
because this destroy Xandar because you want.
This is the movie where we introduce like the big bad.
Yeah.
Like, Thanos
not Loki.
Is by far the big bad.
Yeah.
Like he's the one orchestrating the whole thing that wants everybody dead. Like so Ronan, not a henchman on his own devices, is just evil, but not like overtly evil like the Red Skull.
Right.
I have no complaints about Ronan. I thought the actor did a great job. He looked terrifying. He just was terrifying.
He's sort of justifiable in that he's got this like religious motive that's like, and it's sort of a public commentary on how, like religious extremism is bad, and that's always a necessary conversation to have.
Right. He's absolutely like a cult leader and
evil dude.
But and he had that scene, and I thought the scene was really good because there's always that scene where like you have a secondary villain, like a big villain, where like the secondary villain gets his hands on the Article of Power and goes like nuts over it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, but Ronan didn't do that. Ronan was just like, oh, I've seen the power of this thing now. No way in heck I'm giving it back to Thanos.
Yeah, no, this thing's awesome.
And so he doesn't go crazy, he doesn't let it consume him or kill him. He just sticks it in the hammer and is like, done.
It's mine now.
You lost, boy. You done. No, Ronan was great. Terrifying villain. Good portrayal by Lee Pace, I believe is his name.
No idea.
I think that's what you said. It's coming back to me slowly.
Thanos, the introduction.
Yeah, we don't get a ton of Thanos here, and we
get enough. We get enough that like these could have been post-credit scenes,
but they aren't. They could have been post-credit scenes for like 6 movies,
right?
And he keeps calling Ronan boy.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
boy,
which makes me think that like maybe Ronan is like related.
No, I don't think so.
I have no idea. But he keeps calling Ronan boy, and Ronan's eventually like, "This is a bad idea. You should not be doing this. I will wreck you." Thanos is like, "I'm gigantic and purple. Like, try me."
I like sitting in a chair. Yeah. I will collect the Infinity Stones, and I will destroy the Avengers.
Yeah, because he has this one. I don't remember what movie it's in. I imagine it's coming up shortly, where he has the post-credit scene where he's like, grabs the Infinity Gauntlet and goes, "I guess I'll just do it myself."
That's in.
Is it
the last
Civil
one?
War?
That's Ragnarok.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
I'm like certain
You're
that's what that was.
100% wrong.
What was the Ragnarok one?
The Ragnarok one was there was the Jeff Goldblum one, and there was the one where they saw Thanos' ship.
Oh, you right. No. But I know what you're talking about.
I think it's Civil War.
Maybe it's Spider-Man. Who knows?
I don't think it's Spider-Man. I think it's Civil War.
No, because I know what Spider-Man is.
Yeah, I think it's Civil War.
We'll find out
shortly.
Eventually.
It might be Ant-Man. No, it's not Ant-Man.
No, they wouldn't put that much in Ant-Man.
Yeah, maybe it's Age of Ultron? I don't know.
What do you think of I was going to say Mary Poppins, but you haven't seen the second one. So what do you think of Yondu?
What do you mean Mary Poppins?
Nothing.
I'm so confused. Have you seen the second Mary Poppins already?
Have you seen the second Guardians of the Galaxy?
No. I thought you were talking about the second Mary Poppins movie. That's like doesn't come out for 8 months or whatever.
There's another Mary
Poppins. Yeah, they're making a sequel. It's got Amy Adams, I think.
Oh, she's so good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Color me a spoonful of stoked. Anyway, what did I think of Yondu?
Yondu,
right.
Yeah, the Ravager.
I like Yondu.
Leader.
He's got the cool, like, Borderlands type action skill thing.
Interesting way.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about though? It's just a useless skill that no one should have that is super powerful.
Yeah.
Where he like whistles at a needle and it murks people.
It's an arrow.
Whatever.
Yondu in the comics is an archer.
Okay. I've never read the Guardians of the Galaxy comics or most of the comics.
He's also the leader of the Guardians for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
That doesn't surprise me at all. He seemed like he was Peter Quill's boss.
He was, but he's now the leader of the Ravagers, who are a whole different group. They're like the 10 Rings, but totally different, but kind of the same.
The Revengers.
You know what I mean? The Revengers.
I think we should just ban the Revenges. Yo, speaking of Thor Ragnarok, real quick, shout out to Fandango for the lovely Thor Ragnarok poster I have hanging over my desk now.
Let's get into the review.
Real quick, now that we've got a great, down segment, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Do you have any injustice that you want to tell me about?
I don't have any injustice, but I do have the opposite of injustice.
Give me some justice in America then.
Recently at my day job, as in yesterday, they purchased us Bluetooth headsets. For our phone calls. We make it work. I make a lot of calls at my day job. But I found out that you can connect the Bluetooth headset. So typically I make about 70 calls in a day. Since we got the Bluetooth headsets yesterday, I have upped that to about 100 a day. Yeah. Which has made a huge difference.
So did you have a headset before this, or were you just using a phone?
I was using a phone.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I guess so. We got the Bluetooth headsets. Best part about the Bluetooth headsets is they can be paired to 2 devices. So they're phone clicked, with old school phone cables into the phones. But then you can also Bluetooth connect them to your cell phone. And, the thought process behind that is that you can make work calls with your cell phone. I don't do that. I listen to podcasts between calls.
Yeah, you should probably not say this.
Well, actually, I'm a dealer. I listen to podcasts like The Dealer Playbook.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that. So, it's work related usually.
Yeah.
Although today I was talking to my boss and listening to Let It Go from Pratt.
Nice. So I also have some Justice in America related to my job. I got a new chair at work.
Oh, man.
So my chair, and I guess this is going to be a thing that we're going to start doing, is replacing the chairs. My chair broke in that I was just sitting in it, minding my own business, doing my job, and one of the wheels broke off. Ooh. It just popped off real quick, and I had never seen my life flash that hard before my eyes.
Did you fall?
Almost.
Did you catch yourself?
Yeah, well, I had to catch myself on the desk because it, leaned back and then just started popping up on that leg that was broken.
I see.
So, it just started, I was falling. Legitimately falling. Anyway, My employer got me a very nice chair. It was like, it's the greatest desk chair I've ever sat in my whole life.
Do you make more calls because of it?
Yeah. No, I'm just like, my whole life has changed.
I tell you, the little things that your management can do to really improve your day.
And that chair was one of them. Like, I am 100% more productive now.
So proud of you.
I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Another question for you. I think you know what's coming.
I don't.
You don't know what's coming?
I mean, you might ask it, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I expect
So what is your second favorite Billy Joel song?
Oh, God. I'm so unprepared. The Longest Time.
Longest Time? Okay, good choice. Tell me about that.
Because like Thor Ragnarok, The Longest Time I have a very distinct memory of with Hunter.
Yeah, but
our friend who I saw not Thor Ragnarok, Thor the Dark World.
Thor the Dark World.
But I also have a memory of it with Hunter's brother, Fisher, who I watch the Snapchat stories of every day. And,
Fisher Wells is hilarious on Snapchat. I'm going to link you to Fisher Wells' Snapchat somehow in the description. Just add him. You won't regret it. He's a UPS delivery guy.
And he hopefully, maybe listens to this podcast after today. And he actually is hilarious.
Oh my God, his Snapchat gives me life.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Man loves what he does. Don't encourage his behavior of Snapchatting while driving, though. No. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be doing that.
No. Now you want to talk about somebody with a lot of tattoos?
That dude.
Fisher Wells.
Like every other day, he's like going to a tattoo shop, and then the other days
his tattoo artist is paying rent off him alone.
Yeah.
But anyway, my second favorite Billy Joel song out of all the Billy Joel songs is, and I know it's off the same album as the last one, but it is The Stranger.
The Stranger. I don't know that I would identify that song.
Oh man, it's great. It's got the whistling thing at the beginning. It's like super like melancholy and slow, and then the beat kicks in, and it's just like funky. Man, it's great. And it's about how people are different people when they're around other people. It's a great song. You should go listen to it after we're done here.
I'll do it right this minute.
No, don't do it right now. And I have a quick, just one more quick aside before we get back into the movie. So I was driving home from doing the things I did after work, my errands, and I forgot how the moon worked for a minute.
The moon?
Yeah, so I was like, man, the moon looks really cool tonight because it's just like this tiny little sliver of moon, like almost a new moon. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to talk about this on a podcast, man. Like the moon looked really cool in Newport News tonight. I wonder what it looked like for Ty. And I was like, same moon. Yep, it's that way the whole world over.
Is it?
Yeah, pretty much. The moon is like shining on one spot at a time.
Huh,
yeah.
Is that how it works? Like if I dug through the center of the earth,
it would be daytime.
I would still see the moon.
No, it would be daytime.
Oh, it would be daytime. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you just totally blew my mind. Of course it would be daytime. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like
I am sitting down, but I need to sit down. Back to the story.
Okay, no, I know we've been on this block for a minute. I got one last question for you. Something I forgot to ask you before we started. Tyler, how did you watch this movie?
Ooh. How do you think I watched it?
I think you rented it on your Xbox for $3.99.
I did, even though I have it DVR'd from FX. I watched it on my Xbox.
You know what's hilarious? I rented it on my Xbox for $3.99.
You did?
I did.
Was it a life-changing experience to watch a movie?
No, because there were no freaking subtitles.
There's no call for subtitles in this whole movie.
Nope. I was excited. I'm like, whatever subtitles are in this movie, I'm going to get to read them finally. Nope.
It's all in English.
Nope, it's all in English. But I was chilling out on Saturday, and my girlfriend and I couldn't figure out something to do. And she was just like, what's your next movie for the podcast? And I was like, Guardians of the Galaxy. She goes, we're watching it right now.
Oh, gosh. She was ready to go. Fun fact about Guardians of the Galaxy. Not only do I love it, but my fiance Emily loves it. And she was like, oh my gosh, can we watch it together? Please, 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 please. And then we watched probably the first half hour together, and then she went to bed.
Yep. I have found many times that I've struggled to stay awake during these movies because I'll watch them at like 10 p.m. on a Monday.
Right.
And I'm just...
It's a tough
I'm
life.
sitting there like... nodding off, just like, oh man, I have to watch this. I have to take notes. I have to watch this movie.
That's the hardest part is taking notes.
Okay, so let's get back to some. Let's go over a little bit of plot.
Start
we don't
the
have
movie.
We don't have a ton of time, but let's get some plot. The first note I have about this movie is Ooga Chaka. I don't care. It was the first thing I thought of. The movie started, and in my head, I was just like, Ooga Chaka, Ooga, Ooga, Ooga Chaka.
That's not even like remotely the first song.
I'm aware of that. It's just like this. That's the song I associate with this movie. That and Cherry Bomb.
Oh, I love that song.
Oh, I
so good.
hate that song.
I mean, I love that song in this movie. Just like
oh
as
god,
a song,
I couldn't listen to it.
Stresses me out.
Oh man, it's probably my second favorite song
excellent.
with the word cherry in the title, behind Cherry Pie by Warrant.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
This movie has a good child actor right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Child actors in Marvel movies.
Not as good as Harley from Iron Man 3, but good.
No, but he's good, and he's got a black eye. Did you ever notice that before watching this movie?
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
I'm imagining Granddad hit him.
Oh, is that
That's what
it
I'm guessing.
I thought he was like bullied in the schoolyard.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that like he was not. That's why he ran away.
I thought he had maybe that was it, but I thought he had like such a close relationship with his mom because things didn't go well at school.
It's possible, but like he, like Granddad or whatever, Mom was like, "Oh, your grandfather's gonna take such good care of you until your dad comes back and gets you," and he runs away.
Yeah, and then. Oh my gosh, you haven't seen the next movie, so you don't know who his dad is.
No, I have no idea.
Do
Don't
you?
tell me.
Oh man,
we're watching these movies as if the new
anyway.
ones haven't happened, so that's fine. I want to know when I am supposed to know, which is in like 3 weeks.
Well, just understand that she says you're so like your daddy. He was an angel composed out of pure light. I mean, that was...
Well, yeah, because his dad's not Terran.
Right. That was some sweet continuity they got going there. They had the whole thing planned out. I did not catch that.
I'm prepared to be like super excited about that. But basically, yeah,
you shouldn't
little
be.
kid Peter runs away, and because like I said, I'm pretty sure that Granddad probably hit him. Because obviously he was staying with the grandparents while Mom was in the hospital dying of, I guess, cancer since she doesn't have hair. But
I guess that's what we're led to believe.
She gives him the present, and he puts it in his backpack and runs away and gets taken off Earth by Yondu.
Yep. They were going to
eat him, and which Yondu brings up at least 14,000 times in the movie.
Well, 3 times.
That's a lot. I don't know. By the third time they made the joke, I was bored about it.
Well, that was the thing, was that the first time he said it, you're supposed to be like, oh wow, he's really opening up to him. And then you realize he hears this all the time.
That was the last good thing Yondu ever did.
Right. Well, you're going to...
So we get Peter on the abandoned planet Morag, and this movie has like normal credits, like a normal movie. I thought was interesting.
Oh, instead of like intro credits?
Yeah, it just had like they just played kind of like over the beginning scene, or even the beginning scene, like the second after the cold open scene, which is like a very like normal movie thing to do.
You know, this movie actually, this was something I was super proud of about this movie, is that it had every opportunity to have Chris Pratt narrating in the background.
Oh, it would have ruined it.
Ruined it. Would have totally ruined it. But like you could even see where there was parts where like you almost thought they were thinking about it. Like there's this part where after he gets the orb and he's running away, he jumps and they do like a super slow-mo shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That was a perfect opportunity for them to have Chris Pratt being like, "This sucks." Or something like that.
No.
Just some
that's even
line.
This first scene where he's just like walking and doing the dancing and stuff. There was a perfect scene for like a now how did I get here? Let me tell you the funny story.
Right. And then or they could have even had it like a part later on where there was every opportunity for them to do narration, and I'm so glad
it would have been
didn't.
like
they even like
90s comedy style narration, which I think would have been hilarious in one respect, like if it wasn't Chris Pratt,
if they had like Chris Pratt,
Will Smith narrating it as Star-Lord,
Bob Saget,
something like that, like somebody who's clearly not Chris Pratt, and then the end it's like a scene, like a How I Met Your Mother scene of him like sitting around a fireplace.
What would you have thought if they did it like Parks and Rec in The Office, where they did like interviews with Chris Pratt?
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Or if there was a part where like there was a character named Burt Macklin.
That would have been amazing. As if like
if that was John C.
They
Reilly's
did the fourth wall thing where they had like the interviews. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But we get a piece of technology here that Chris Pratt, that Star-Lord has, that they don't bring up enough in the rest of the movie, that he's got this like hologram thing that is showing him the past.
Yeah, showing him like what this civilization was.
Yeah, so he can follow the roads and like people doing stuff and like, oh my, what? And they wrote that off and they're just like, nah, I'm never gonna bring that up again.
That was cool.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, so he's going after some circular thing. I guess we get orbs instead of cubes in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, so that's cool or whatever. He's got the circular thing on the pedestal, and he has this other ball type thing. I thought he was about to do some like Indiana Jones stuff where he like swaps it out, but no, he just like pulls it out and with like a magnet.
It's cool.
Oh, and he's jamming through the thing using like a space rat as a microphone.
Oh yeah.
So
whole scene gets me going.
It really shows us a lot about Chris Pratt's character, about Star-Lord, without telling us anything about Star-Lord, which I thought was cool. That was some really good exposition.
And it also says, I know you've seen a lot of Marvel movies.
This is not this is not a standard Marvel movie.
Not like the other ones are particularly serious all the time. Maybe
it's just super different from anything. And it's almost like this is going to be the new standard for Marvel movies.
Right. Like, I will say, watching this, you see a lot of parallels with Ragnarok.
Yeah, and Spider-Man and Ant-Man. And I'll get to this at the end, because that's my big like plus for this movie.
Is that it's the Renaissance?
Yeah, it's the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
It brings a certain degree of levity to the rest of the series that they were just missing in the weird, like, Phase 2 emo period.
Yeah.
But he still...
And then we get the scene where he steals a thing, and then he looks at Danny Archer's guy from...
Yeah, he's like, there's another name you might know me by.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. The guy just goes, who? He's like, come on, man, I'm Star-Lord.
Legendary outlaw. Legendary outlaw. Come on, man. Yeah, and that was funny. I laughed. And then we move on. The girl is on the ship.
He's got some Redskin
fly
space
around.
floozy.
And he's like, your name is,
I don't even know.
I forgot. Tariq or something. No, something like that. And then soundtrack next level. You can shut up and sit down if you don't agree with me. Totally think that. And then we get the scene where he talks to Yondu, and Yondu's like, "Boy, I saved you off Terran.
I said, I'm gonna put a bounty on y'all here, boy."
And then, what did you think of just the Ravagers acting together? Did you think they were real campy? Like it was a little overdone?
No, I liked it because Yondu had his guy, which I guess is also the guy that played Rocket, Vashaun Gunn. He's got his guy that just like his yes man standing next to him.
I like him.
He's cool.
Yeah.
No, I thought they were good. They're just like a bunch of space goons.
Yeah, but I don't know, they felt a little campy to me. But that's, not a bad thing.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't think it was anything wrong with it. They were like the anti-villain. You know, not they were good, but they're just like they're kind of there. They're kind of late to the party every time, and like they have the same motive kind of as the main villain, which is like they want the orb back. They want to kill Peter, but like
in this movie, like there's a lot of deception here, and that everybody cares about the orb to save Xandar, but at the end of the day, most of the people hunting the orb are hunting the orb to get the credits for the orb.
Straight cash.
They don't care about Xandar. They care about, like, earlier on
only
Xandar,
the Xandarians care about Xandar. Only Nova Club or whatever. Kanja Club. Nova Corps. I have some thoughts on Nova Corps.
I like Nova Corps. Oh, man. Fun fact about comic books. I've bought a few comic books over the years. One of the few that I've purchased is Nova, who is a child from Nova Corps.
That's cool.
You were there.
I did.
You bought them
together. So then we get introduced to the rest of the Guardians. We get Rocket, who is just
whoa.
What?
Before that, we get introduced to Ronan.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I jumped ahead. My fault.
So we get introduced to Ronan, and like the first thing he says is they call me terrorist, and then there's
a big scary speech while he's putting his helmet on and getting painted.
Honestly, he says like the exact same lines that the Mandarin said. It's like, some people call me terrorist. I consider myself a teacher.
I have just destroyed another cheap American knockoff, the Xandarian Theater. But no,
this movie's way better than Iron Man 3.
He has a great line. He's talking to the Xandarian prince or whatever, and the guy's like, "You will never rule Xandar," and he's like, "No, I will cure it." And
he kills him, and there's like the nasty blood.
I have a note right here that says, "Looks like his name is Ronan. No way that's not ominous."
Yeah. Also, did you notice his hammer, when it's on screen, has like the same sound effects as Mjolnir?
Yeah. I did notice that.
I thought, like, and at first I was like, I wonder if this is kind of the same thing, where like he can wield the hammer, but nobody else can. But somebody hands it to him.
Yeah,
so that's not the case.
They probably just like were out of hammer effects, like sound effects. They were just like, we recorded enough hammer sound effects for Thor. We've got a whole folder on the cloud somewhere that's just like hammer sounds.
Right.
So, but he's got a big hammer.
Listen, Gilderoy Lockhart, could you send us those?
He's got a hammer with like normal size handle, so that's cool, I guess. He can actually like hit people with it properly, like with both hands, which he needs both hands. And then we get introduced to Thanos as well. Thanos wants the orb, and Ronan is supposed to get it for him.
Obvious reasons.
And we get Gamora and Nebula, who are just like trying to be Daddy's little girl. Both of them.
Oh, man. I hate Nebula.
I know. We've been over it. Okay. Then we get introduced to the rest of the Guardians.
And Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, Rocket is just sitting there like roasting people in the middle of some city. Like, just giving people mad-ish.
Assaulting us with that hair. It's not cool to need help.
I know. And that's where Stan Lee makes his cameo.
I thought it was a good one. I give him thumbs up.
And then they just like spot Peter on the thing. They're like, 40,000 credits? We're going to be rich, Groot.
We're going to be rich. That's 20,000 each. Every time I see an amount, I always like divide it by the number of people. And I'm always like, man, it would be so much nicer to get 40,000 of something than 20,000.
And they keep doing that in this movie when they're like 5 people because nobody counts Groot.
Right. They're like, Groot doesn't care about the money.
And then Drax is like, I don't care about the money. And they're like, great, 4.
Right.
But yeah, so they decide to go after Peter, and Peter goes to try to sell the orb to the broker, and the broker's like, "Oh man, I got it, man. I'm so glad you got it. This is great." And then he was like, "Yeah, Ronan wants it." The guy's like, "Whoa, hold on, man. If Ronan wants it, you need to get the heck out of my shop, boy."
Yeah, Ronan is not cool. He's a Kree fanatic, is what he says. I love how they're just able to describe him like it's a big deal, but it's not even nothing. It's like,
I mean, it sounds like
Kree fanatics
Kree suck,
right? It doesn't sound like the Kree suck. It sounds like Kree fanatics suck.
I mean, it sounds like Xandar and Kree are in the middle of a big like blood space war.
Yeah.
is what's going on.
Yeah.
They had a peace treaty.
It didn't go well.
I mean, it went well except for Ronan, who it sounds like is just
who was
like a rogue Kree guy.
Another cheap American knockoff.
I will cure Xandar of its ailments. Another cheap Xandarian knockoff.
I think that's so funny. Oh, man.
I can do the Mandarin voice all day long, man. I love that character. He's so ridiculous.
Fortune cookies.
They sound Xandarian. They look Xandarian.
A man who slept with an Oscavarian. One time, man.
After he was straight up just like, no, I didn't do that. They got fangs and stuff. And he's like, here, man who slept with an Oscavarian. Even Drax gets it. Like, even Drax, the guy who doesn't get the joke, gets that joke.
Yeah. I love. So then we get the fight scene between Gamora and he has the hilarious line where he's like, people would say that about me, but I would never say that about myself. Right. And then, we get the fight, and I love it because Gamora is super, like, practiced and composed, right. And Quill is super clumsy.
But so he gets to the point where he gets Gamora beat, and he's ready to leave, and then Groot just puts him in a bag, and Gamora's like, hey, thanks, and then beats the crap out of Groot and Rocket. And dude,
she does, too.
And he gets out of the bag, then they all get arrested.
Yeah, and they all get arrested. John C. Reilly's there. Super funny. Makes fun of Star-Lord's code name. And then we get the, like, ultra exposition.
Oh, yeah, the like, scene where, what's his name from Spy and John C. Reilly are talking to each other.
Yeah, and it's just, like, straight up, like, nobody knows who these characters are. Let's just
straight introduce them.
Up, let's just tell the audience and put them on screen and, like, have descriptions beside them and just flat out, like, why on earth would you ever do this in a prison? But, yeah, it was good. I even paused each one of them, was trying to find like if there was interesting stuff in the comments about them. Not really. Peter Quill was arrested for like public intoxication a few times, which was funny. And he has the thing where he like flicks off the camera.
I don't know how this machine works.
Yeah, that was good. Straight exposition. Anyway, real quick before we get to that, do you remember the Hunger Games? Yeah. Okay, so when I read the Hunger Games, the Xandarian city is what I pictured the capital to look like. Okay. That's what I was picturing. I can see that. And what I got was like revolutionary France.
Oh, I mean, what I imagined the Hunger Games like was completely wrong. I've never been more wrong about a movie.
Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe they were wrong.
I mean, they were absolutely wrong.
Those movies aren't bad, though.
There's a lot wrong with those movies. Those are movies I could sit and tear apart for hours.
Fun fact, we probably will.
Yeah, I imagine. And I'm not going to have nice things to say about the casting, the direction, the scenes, the set, anything.
Brutal.
I will have nice things to say about Elizabeth, what's her name, that plays Effie.
She's good. I think Jennifer Lawrence is good.
Nope. Nope. Anyway, so we get the scene where Peter's like super upset about his Walkman getting stolen, because it's like, that's when he starts listening to Hooked on a Feeling, right? Yeah, that's when the guard is like listening to Hooked on a Feeling.
Ooga chaka, ooga ooga. And he's like, Blue Sweet, that song belongs to me!
Yeah, and the guard's just like,
no, it doesn't work.
Nope. But we get this like new meat in the prison, like, Shawshank scene.
Dude, Groot totally messes that.
Yeah, where they're all like, "Oh man, you guys are gonna live one day in here."
Yeah, and then Groot puts his fingers up that dude's nose and lifts him off the
brutal.
ground. I am in pain thinking about that.
I almost threw up when I watched that. I was like,
oh my gosh, that looks painful.
Terrible.
And that dude didn't die, so I don't know where his brain is supposed to be. But
that's where we get introduced to Drax.
Love Drax. Drax
is like, I'm gonna go kill Gamora because Ronan killed my family.
And that was all he needed, you know? Little Avengers.
Yeah. So that's when Gamora admits that she's got her own plan. She's trying to get away from Ronan.
Real quick, just before we saw all that, we did see jacked Chris Pratt.
Yeah, with no shirt on.
Yeah, real jacked.
Yep. Definitely different from Andy Dwyer in the first like 5 seasons.
Yeah, and then they're like, how'd you lose all the weight? And he's like, I just stopped drinking beer.
How much beer were you drinking? A lot.
Yeah. And then...
Yeah, so we get Gamora, and Gamora has her own plans, but, like, Thanos knows that Gamora has her own plans. He says that in literally the next scene. And he's just like, we can't trust Gamora. She's bad. Bad news.
She is bad news. Apparently bad news. Then I guess I guess Gamora is supposed to be better at everything than
Yeah, she
Nebula.
Was the favorite child.
Nebula has a problem with that. It's tough to tell because Nebula's just got no presence.
He's like, oh, Gamora, my favorite child. Nebula's like...
She says, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Daddy.
And like the most Valley girl, like, why? Oh my God.
I want a Chrome extension that just replaces her with Maria Hill.
Just like, I will even take like Robin Scherbatsky in her place.
Super Canadian.
Yeah, like, oh, come on, Ted. We learned that Gamora has a super jump ability, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you caught that. You are typically bad at noticing things like that.
Wow. Okay.
What? You are.
You're a jackass.
And then Rocket the planner.
Yeah.
The planner and the marksman
deserves
more credit in this movie.
Yep. He made the plan to get the whole thing out. He got the armband, attached it to the battery that Groot got, and he didn't need the leg.
And he does the whole plan where he turns off gravity.
He turns off the gravity and like flies the control tower with a bunch of robots. Like, that was cool.
With a bunch of robot guards.
Yeah, that was tight.
And they like escape. Oh my gosh.
That was tight.
And like this was all his plan the whole time.
Yep.
Oh man,
that was
Rocket
awesome.
Is a cool character.
Was awesome. Then what happens? Oh right, yeah. Peter has to go after the Walkman.
He goes after the Walkman, which I think is really cool. This is he goes back to the stinking tape player. And that's a man with something to live for, and that one thing is his mother who died, which I think is cool.
Yep.
Very Freudian.
I'm amazed that he can find like AA batteries
to run that thing. I didn't even think about that. Maybe he just
modified it. Yeah,
that was better. Yeah,
probably. But I mean, if Korg Ragnarok has anything to tell us, there's a spot where like everything just ends up in the universe.
Yeah, everything just dumps. Yep. Korg. His Meek. Got knives for hands.
I love Korg.
What a good movie.
Oh man, I can't wait to get to the full version of that one.
And then so we're back in the ship and they have like some chemistry and she's like, this place is filthy, and he's like, it looks like a Jackson Pollock with a black light, which is naughty Marvel.
Jesus Christ.
Very inappropriate. I was dying.
I was laughing so hard.
Literally laughing out loud.
And my girlfriend was sitting there like,
inappropriate.
Ew. And I was like,
amazing thing. Apparently improvised comment, fun fact for those
That's
who didn't
great.
know.
That makes me so much happier. But yeah, we get this like the budding thing of this Peter and Gamora thing.
Yep. And then Ronan kills
the entire prison.
An entire crowd of people.
Yep.
Oh, he kills the whole prison. That's what it was.
They're like, what do you want us to do with the prison? He's like, cleanse it.
Cleanse it. I will. What does he say?
What
is the name of the prison?
It's like, I don't know. Can't remember.
Another cheap American knockoff.
The prison needs to be cleansed.
Full of... Oh, gosh, I can't even do it.
The Braves were away.
So he knows who John Stamos is, and then they're at Nowhere, which is an awesome name for a planet, by the way.
It's not a planet. It's the severed head of an ancient celestial being.
Yeah, one of the ones that can hold an infinity stone. Fun fact.
Yep. And so the Collector lives there, and... we get this great scene where like Groot grows a little flower in his hand for a girl. That was cute.
It was cute. Groot's a character. Yay.
But yeah, Peter spins Footloose to be an ancient warrior legend. After he tells Gamora, after Gamora tells him she doesn't dance.
Who was in Footloose?
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon and Eggs.
Kevin Bacon and Eggs. Yeah, Kevin Bacon is like one of the two people we follow on Twitter.
Yeah, so on Twitter we only follow Canadian egg farmers and Kevin Bacon because Kevin Bacon and Eggs.
You ever played the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
7 degrees.
Nope, it's 6 degrees. Yeah.
Really? I thought it was 7 degrees of separation. 6
degrees of separation. Yeah.
Huh. I'm familiar.
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where like you can get back to Kevin Bacon in 6 movies or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that many Kevin Bacon movies, but I can usually tie something back to Tremors.
Where a lot of people in Tremors.
Yeah.
He's also an American Dad, which has a ton of...
Yeah, like that's why it's the Kevin Bacon thing, not only because his name rhymes with separation, but because he's just like in enough stuff with enough people.
Well, American Dad is like a Seth MacFarlane show, so it's got
as I'm saying, it's like cameos. Yeah, he does stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like you'd probably have a pretty hard time with the 6 degrees of Benedict Cumberbatch.
I doubt it. Just go to trace your way back to Lord of the Rings. Tons of people.
Oh yeah, he was Smaug.
Yeah. Or like any movie that what's his face is in.
Whom?
Martin Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. He was in Love Actually. It's a great pivot point. Great pivot point. But yeah, so Footloose is an ancient warrior legend too, Peter.
And they have that little conversation and they start to get like romantic. Yep. And then she like puts a knife.
Yeah, when she puts the he tries to kiss her and she puts the knife to his throat, but like she's got the headphones on in the scene and it's just screaming at him because she can't hear anything.
Super funny. Yep.
I laughed so hard.
And then we get back inside in Nowhere, and they having like the drunken fight between Drax, who is winning all the betting, which I think is hilarious, and
Rocket.
Rocket, who's just obviously spouting off all these insecurities. Of course, we've already talked about this. Very vulnerable moment for the character. Good reason why he's the best character in the movie.
He talks about he doesn't like being called rodent, and
like nobody respects him, and he didn't ask to be born, I think is what he says, which is like a super, like, I don't want to say like a trendy belief right now, but it's kind
nobody's
of
born.
Like it's
nobody belongs anywhere, so just come back and watch TV summer. Jeez.
Right. Is it Rick and Morty? It's kind of like a pop.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
philosophy
a meme
right now.
is to like dislike your existence, blame your parents for your existence.
Not even blame your parents, just like blame powers.
I didn't ask to be born who's going to pay all my student loans. Which I mean, I say that about once a day.
But then, okay, so that happens. Good stuff. At some point in here, Gamora says pelvic sorcery, which deserves a good laugh. Haha.
But yeah, we finally get a proper indication of what Infinity Stones are when the Collector's assistant literally opens the container of the Infinity Stone and just grabs it and like explodes.
Most of nowhere.
Blows up the whole thing. And then Drax takes care of blowing up the rest of it when he summons Ronan.
Yeah, dude, Drax totally messed up here.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
But Yondu's
Drax.
also there. And they take the pods and they like fly all over the place and have a great dogfight with the pods. And I finally get to say it for a real reason. Now this is pod racing.
This is pod racing. And the pods, I thought was a good scene. I think the dogfights in this movie deserve more credit than they get because they actually, and I think they do a lot better than this at the second dogfight, or maybe the final one. But they use the fact that they're in the air as sort of like you can go under the enemy, you can go over the enemy, you can be behind them. Like it's more directions than just like we are going at them and they're coming at us. Like the depth
that ends up being a big thing in later movies. Like it because in the only like dogfights we've had previously have been to the tune of like big helicarrier versus big star whale thing.
I believe Tony Stark fights Obadiah Stane in the air.
That's people though. Like I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about. Yeah. And either way, they were just like rapidly ascending the whole time. So I mean, and you see it in Ragnarok. I believe you see it in Spider-Man between Spider-Man and the Vulture or whatever. But
such a good movie.
I imagine you see it in the second Guardians of the Galaxy. I know that kind of thing happens in the next Avengers. But it's just like this movie set a lot of precedents for the series.
Oh, it definitely did.
Which is great that we set these precedents because they end up helping the series out a lot. But we get this great scene, very touching scene where Peter like hops out of his pod to save Gamora and gives her his breathing
I guess we're
mask.
Supposed to be like he's in love with her or whatever. Ooh, what do you think of his breathing mask? I'm downvoting this.
Why? Why is that?
Boo. Yeah, well, because Iron Man, his mask comes off and it's all mechanical and cool, and Star-Lord, it just materializes and dematerializes.
Yeah, well, Star-Lord has access to technology that Tony Stark does not.
Yes. Just boo. They could have made it cooler. Dogfight is cool.
So, yeah, Peter takes his mask off to save Gamora, and then Yondu, like, rescues them. Well, rescues. Air quote, rescues.
Yeah, pretty much rescues them. He, like, rescues them.
Yeah, well, he rescues them for the purpose of murdering Peter and getting the orb back.
Oh, man. But, like, the more Yondu's character develops over these movies, and I know you haven't seen the next one, you have to just kind of go with where he is right now. You know that he would never do anything to Peter.
I don't know that.
You kind of get that at the end where they say we should have delivered him to his dad, and Yondu's like, he's a dick.
Well,
anyway.
We're not at the end yet.
Yondu has, but you know, after having seen the movie, you know that Yondu has Peter's best interests.
Yeah, for sure. That they like didn't want to give Peter back to his dad. Like they were hired to give Peter back to his dad, and they were just like, bad idea.
Yeah, no, that's not a good call.
Yeah.
This movie makes me think a lot about Halo because of the ships that Ronan's goons fly.
Yeah.
They look like banshees and they fire Banshee guns.
Oh.
Drax gets thrown in the brain goop, but then he gets out. And then I didn't realize they split up in this movie, but they do. There's like a Groot, Rocket, and Drax team, and then there's a Quill and Gamora team. And
for sure,
Drax, like they should never have reteamed up with Drax. He really messed stuff up.
Well, and he admits it afterward. He's like, I should not have summoned Ronan.
Yeah,
I have the line highlighted, "You're making me beat up grass," but I don't remember who says that or why.
Rocket says that. He says it when he's mad at everybody because he just wants to take his money and run. And Groot is like, I am Groot. And he's like, no, we don't want to go back for them. And what do you think of the trope that Rocket just knows what Groot is saying?
He's Chewbacca. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I know. But what do you think of that trope?
I like it.
No.
I like it when they do it with Chewbacca. I like it when they do it with Groot.
I think it's stupid. They do it with R2-D2 as well.
I like that. I don't have any problem with it. Yeah, I think it's a cool thing. Like, I don't know why I like it. I don't know. I don't have like strong feelings about it. I just think it's cool. Like, I don't know. I don't have a good reason for why I like it.
That's kind of like Hank Green. He says you don't have to have an opinion.
Right. Like, I have an opinion on it, but I don't have an opinion as to why I have an opinion. Like, I couldn't justify it.
Right.
Like, I think it's cool, but I don't know why I think it's cool. Like, I can't materialize the words in my head to say what I'm like thinking about it.
Right. And then, so they get on the ship with the Ravagers, and Yondu says what I've been thinking this whole time is, why on earth do we care about Xandar? Why would they go back and save Xandar? last time you were there, you were literally just there to sell something to make money.
And you got arrested.
To go back and keep doing that. Yeah, and then you got arrested. Like, why on earth does everybody care about Xandar? And they're like, well, he could kill billions of people. It's like, you all just steal from everybody. You even said earlier in this movie, that's what we do. We steal from everybody.
But they have a plan.
They do have a plan. And I guess what they try to get at is that, like, Ronan will kill the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, he'll start with Xandar, but he'll kill everybody.
All he has to do is touch the surface of a planet and the planet's done. But
and he's going to do that everywhere.
Peter has a plan. Well, Peter has 12% of a plan.
12%.
12%.
What a percentage, 12%. Ethan? 12%. What is 12?
The largest one-syllable number.
Yep.
And they have a plan, but I don't know what the plan is because that Cherry Bomb song distracted me from listening to the plan.
Oh, they all put on red outfits because Ravagers.
Yeah, no, I missed that completely. I was so busy being horribly distracted by that freaking song.
Cherry Bomb!
Hello, Daddy! Hello, Mom!
I'm a Cherry Bomb!
Sung by female Josh Gad.
Oh, man, I love Josh Gad. Although, if I wanted somebody to read me bedtime stories, Josh Gad would be at the bottom of that
Josh
list.
Gad. Probably be Josh Gad, the guy that plays the tiger in Zootopia, like, you know.
Zazu.
Yeah, Zazu. Freaking, who else? Who else would be horrible at reading bedtime stories?
I wouldn't want Ethan to read me a bedtime story, unless you're listening to this as you fall asleep, in which case...
Bye. Good night. Sleep tight.
Good night. Don't let the spiders bite, because then you'll die.
Yep. And when you mix your
Don't let the snake bite either.
Mix your, with your pumpkin spice latte with Rockstar, you die. Bacon and Eggs, once again, brought to you by Pumpkin Spice Rockstar. Pumpkin Spice Rockstar, still not available anywhere. Yep. So then Rocket needs the guy's eye, and he's just like, "Oh, I need that guy's eye."
Super funny.
And Peter's like, "Whoa, wait a minute!"
And Peter's like, "No, whoa, dude, don't even."
We're good.
No. Then Rocket's like dying. All the spaceships in this movie, I think, are super cool.
Definitely.
I think the ship that he has is cool. The ship that Ronan has is cool. Yeah. And then we get the really good dog fight where they're like fire the gun and then it's like a smoke screen and then they fly below.
Oh, yeah, it was cool.
So it's
and
like
then they form a big wall.
Oh yeah, and there's all these different things. And the Nova Corps there.
Yeah.
They join the fight.
Yeah.
And they have the line where he's like, "I'm not a total dick."
Yeah.
And then he says they got my dick message, which like,
yeah,
wow,
it was great. Great dog
and
fight.
And then they're on the ship and Groot gets out and he does a little lightning bug thing. And they're like, I didn't know you could do this, which turns out the reason they say that is because Groot didn't have that power in the comics.
And I don't even know, because it's been a couple days since I watched this, so I don't even know what happens, but I just have a note that says, and here's fucking Nebula again.
So what happens here is Gamora and Nebula fight each other, or Drax shoots Nebula with a rocket, and then it really doesn't do anything. They just like Drax and Quill and...
Yondu
Groot
finally gets to do his arrow thing. Like, he actually gets to kill people with it this time.
Awesome.
He just, he whistles at it and goes like, and it just shoots through, 7 people.
Kills everybody.
Man. That was awesome. Awesome.
Insanely cool. He just
tell me something about this movie. Why does Ronan hate Xandar so much?
Oh.
What did they do?
It's like terrorists hating America. It's like the existence of that culture is so repulsive to them
terrorists
that it cannot be.
They call me terrorist.
I consider myself a teacher. Another cheap Xandarian knockoff.
But yeah, so Peter shoots Ronan straight in the chest, straight in the chest, and it does
leave a hole.
Yeah, but other
in
than
his
that,
chest.
it does nothing. He is fine.
Yeah. Ronan is one of these dudes that I feel like is pretty powerful. Yep. He's almost like a boss battle in a video game where
he's got waves. He just keeps coming back.
Warrior
keeps coming back because Rocket flies the ship through the window and crushes him.
I think the rocket that comes from Quill would do a lot more damage than the rocket that comes from Rocket.
Well, no, he landed the whole ship on him, and it still doesn't do any damage. Yeah. But we think it does because Ronan goes away for a minute, and Groot makes the ball, the branches, and it grows the big branchy ball around them. It goes, "We are Groot," and I was just like, "Yeah," because Rocket's like, "But Groot, you'll die.
You'll die, Groot."
And then
Groot is
Yug. That's all I can think of every time Rocket talks is Joey Wheeler, like Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! The Bridge series.
Yug,
Red Eyes Black Dragon.
My Red Eyes Black Dragon card.
Yeah, we are Groot.
The Infinity Stone. Bad news, man. But then there's that fight between Gamora and Karen Gillan, and she's like, "Help us kill Ronan!" And Gamora's Nebula is like, "No,
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm good. I'm not gonna do that." And then, but she obviously survives because she lands in cliffhanger. Where's she coming back at?
Big ship falls on ground, lands in the middle of the city, and
Oh, before, but while this is all happening, the big problem is like, oh, people on Xandar are gonna die. Well, not only did a whole bunch of ships dive bomb, but then Rocket had the genius idea of let's shoot them in the air before they dive bomb, as though that's gonna do anything. They're still just gonna fall.
I don't know, man.
You're just gonna kill the pilot before they hit the ground, like. And then so then the big ship falls on Xandar, which is also huge.
We get all the guys are saved by Groot. We get that Ronan's still alive, and he says the name of the movie. He's just like, you Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, yep, he said the thing. Said the thing. Roll credits. And then we get the dance off.
And then we get the dance off, which I think is silly. Good little thing. Keep it lighthearted.
What song is he singing? Oh, the freaking... Ooh, child, things gonna get easier.
Easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. But then, they did the dance off, and then...
Oh.
Peter Quill should be able to grab an Infinity Stone without it killing him.
That's fine. He doesn't know that yet. And it didn't kill him. It just ripped his face off a little bit.
Yeah, no.
So,
it shouldn't even happen. He should have grown in that thing.
This is the problem I have with this movie. The one problem I have with this movie is this is so freaking cheesy.
Oh, like the friendship circle from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Freaking Captain Planet thing.
Power of friendship.
Yeah, they're just like, he grabs a stone, and face starts to melt off, and then like Gamora grabs his hand, and Rocket grabs her hand, and they're like, My Little Pony, friendship is magic.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, I think, they say like beings of supreme power should be able to manage it. But so Peter Quill, given his lineage, should be able to handle it. Gamora, given her lineage, should be able to handle it.
Hang on. She's not actually Thanos' kid, remember. Not born of Thanos. She's Thanos' adopted daughter.
Drax the Destroyer.
No, he's just a big muscly guy. He'll be fine.
Rocket, I agree.
But they do it together. They do it together because we need to beat you over the head with the friendship stick.
Friendship is power.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, so...
hot of the cards.
So cheesy. And then they destroy Ronan with it and stick it back in its box, and everything is hunky freaking dory. Except Yondu is still trying to get the stone. He's still like, it's mine, bro.
But even though Yondu gets it, he's like, yeah, well, I got it, but Then he finds out that it was a fake, and he's like, haha.
Oh, no, it's not just a fake. Clever. It's a troll doll. He literally gets trolled.
Literally gets trolled. That's funny.
Yeah. And then he's like, they say the thing about, like, probably glad we didn't, or probably good thing we didn't deliver him to his dad.
Yeah, so that's how you know that, like, Yondu really has Peter's best interest.
Oh, we get a super emotional scene where Rocket's just holding a twig and just weeping.
Then he plants it, and then it's
Nova
not even
Prime.
a big deal. I think Groot is the only Groot. That's what I think.
No, he's not. He is not. Because the Collector says, I never thought I'd get to meet a Groot.
Yeah, which that doesn't mean he's not the only Groot. I think Groot did die, and Baby Groot is the next Groot in the line of Groot. So he's like the Doctor.
I feel like you're reaching there.
I don't know that I am. And I could be wrong here, but I get the idea that there's only ever one Groot at a time. But
like
it's
Sith?
like a continuity. Like, yeah. Well, no, because Sith, there was like a Sith Academy and there was a bunch of Sith. There was never a bunch of Groots.
I think there were. I think it's a race. I think so.
I don't know.
That's
I
what
really
I got
don't know
from
a lot
that.
about it.
He says, never thought I'd get to meet a Groot. Like, maybe he's the only one left.
That's what makes me think it's not a race.
Maybe he's the only one left.
Maybe he's like the Time Lords where there was a civilization or the Sith.
I mean, he definitely is like the Doctor because he can grow back, for sure.
But he grows back different.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He's not fully grown back in the next one.
But then we get just like a super happy scene where like, first of all, Nova Prime tells Peter that he's half Terran and not all Terran, and that he's part like ancient warrior beast thing. And we get a super emotional scene. Rocket's holding the Groot twig in a little pot. It's super adorable. And Peter gets his ship back all like it was. And he still has the present, and it's just a super sad note from his mom, and we find out
she was the one that called him
Star-Lord. And
Did you cry?
A little bit. And then he puts the tape in, and his Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
It's like, can you imagine being off of Earth for 30 Earth years, and then hearing a new song from Earth?
Hearing Marvin Gaye.
Why does it matter if it's Marvin Gaye?
Because the last movie ended in Marvin Gaye.
Yep, I don't think that's going to keep
it does either, but like it's a little homage, a little homage.
Omelette du fromage.
And then we just get dancing Baby Groot. He's just like
cute.
dancing. Then Drax turns around and he just stops, like Mannequin Challenge there for a second. Yep. And then he keeps dancing, and we get a post-credit scene.
First post-credit. That is one of the post-credit scenes.
No,
he's dancing.
It's not a post-credit scene.
It's like
it is before the credits. The credits roll
but it's
after.
Anyway, the post-credit scene, we get Howard the Duck. That's about it.
Yeah,
the Collector is still
Howard
alive.
the Duck talking to the Collector
and the dog.
Yeah, he has a dog. The Collector's still alive. Really don't know what it means. I don't really think it's relevant.
I didn't know if it was going to be like Howard the Duck is going to be like a villain.
God, I hope not.
Or if it was a nod to the old Howard the Duck movie, or what it was. But it was.
I don't think I realized until that moment that Howard the Duck was like a Marvel character.
Yeah, he is.
Like, in my mind, he was in DuckTales.
Yeah, like a member of like the McScrooge family or the Duck McScrooge family. Scrooge McDuck. That's what it is.
You ever see? I'm gonna link this in the description. But do you ever see the like I think it's like a minute physics video about why Scrooge McDuck was magic and why he could like swim through the money, but Huey, Dewey, and Louie can't.
Why? Can you tell me why?
Well, it's like he has magical powers. Like, there's no other way for it to do that, because like, even if you filled the room full of like a liquid that allowed the money to float, like it would still be impossible to swim through it. Yeah, I'll have to find it and link it. I hope it exists and it's not just like in some podcast that I heard that I'm never going to find again.
It could be that. I've done that before where I've searched like for like hours trying to find something.
It's like it's not like tagged anywhere.
Right.
So let me get my thing open that tells me what else we need to talk about. So what did you like about this movie?
I like pretty much all of it. Made me laugh, made me cry. I loved all the characters except for Nebula, and that was really the only thing I didn't like. I even thought like the sub characters like John C. Reilly and the people in Nova Corps were good. I thought that Thanos was good. I thought that Ronan was good. Thought that the whole Guardians team was good. I really like. I don't have a ton of complaints about, or I don't have any.
So like.
I have a lot of things I liked about it.
I've up to this point.
I thought it was well acted.
I have up to this point in this review been very nice to this movie. Okay.
Ooh.
I've been very nice to this movie. No, I'm not actually. I've seen this movie exactly twice. Once when it was in theaters about a month after it came out, like right as it was leaving theaters, and once Saturday when I was watching it again. Now, throw yourself back to 2014 when this came out. This was the most overhyped movie that has ever existed until Deadpool.
We literally talked about Avatar.
No.
Do you know that, right?
No. Hang on. Because I finished watching Avatar and I was like, that was freaking cool. That lived up to the hype. I finished watching this movie. My mind was pre-blown at least 400 times going into this movie. Everybody I knew, every TV channel, constantly, ESPN, the news, everybody was just like, Guardians of the Galaxy is the most amazing movie that's ever existed. The greatest movie of all time. Literally better than any other movie ever. You should burn all your other DVDs. Never watch another movie. This is going to be the only movie on TV from now on. Guardians of the Galaxy. Go see it tomorrow. It's the greatest thing since literally anything. And I watched it, and I was just like, okay, that was cool, I guess.
I'm just so heartbroken that you had that experience at the movie theater.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It's like it was cool. But it lived up to maybe 10% of the hype behind it. It was the same way I feel about sad. Deadpool. And like people talked about Deadpool and told me it was going to literally alter my life. Like I would not be the same person walking out of Deadpool as I was when I walked in.
Oh, Deadpool was pretty much exactly what I expected.
Like if you had just told me that this was the next Marvel movie, you didn't need to do anything else other than that. If you'd just been like, yeah, this is the next Marvel movie, I'd be like, oh, awesome. And I'd go see it and I'd be like, this is cool. Which is how I felt 3 years later watching it for the first time again. And I was like, oh, this is a cool movie.
No, you should have felt like this was an exceptionally good Marvel movie.
I mean, it was good. It was good. I think that I like this movie a lot for one reason and one reason only. And that is just because it is so outlandish, so off the wall compared to the other Marvel movies that it has set a new precedent for the rest of the series. And they have all been more lighthearted, more like superhero movies are supposed to be.
It's so weird that you say that because there is no, like it's almost like a Play-Doh thing where there's like a form of the greatest superhero movie ever, right? And we're just trying to get closer and closer to that. Are you familiar with Play-Doh's forms? Okay. For those of you that aren't, it's the idea that outside of the universe there is a perfect version of everything, and inside the universe we will just try to get closer to that thing, but we'll never achieve it. It's like the short Cliff Notes of the Cliff Notes version. And it's almost like there is this platonic greatest superhero movie, but like it doesn't exist, and most superhero movies are not lighthearted and reaching towards that goal that we feel like this one gets us closer to, and we feel like Thor Ragnarok gets us closer to, and we feel like Ant-Man gets us closer to. Let me say this.
For me, this is the transition in the Marvel series where we stopped trying to chase Christopher Nolan, where we stopped trying to chase down Dark Knight, because they were like, well, we got Iron Man and that did pretty well. We're going to make a couple movies that are kind of like Iron Man. And then we did that up until the Avengers, and then we were like, we need a different direction because we're just not doing as well, not playing as well as the Dark Knight, as Dark Knight Rises. So we went super emo with it, and it was like, man, people are kind of responding kind of weird to this. Like, these are super dark movies. Let's let James Gunn go hog freaking wild on one of them. And people loved it. Like, that's what I'm saying. People loved this movie. People loved this movie. They could not stop talking about it.
Yeah, they were excited about the new direction. I mean, you got to think, when this movie came out, the last thing we saw was Winter Soldier, which was admittedly a very, very good movie. And after that, and before that was The Dark World, I think, right?
And then Iron Man 3 before
that was, The Dark World was literally called The Dark World. Like, you couldn't be more like, we're trying to be like the Dark Knight.
Right.
It's called the Dark World.
But then I think this is the moment where Marvel movies just started trying to be Marvel movies. Like, they started being like, this is going to be a comic book movie.
The more comic strip comic book movie, not the graphic novel comic book movie.
Which is what we got in, like, the Dark Knight movies, which were very much, like, graphic novel, Watchmen type. Yeah.
Watchmen, yep.
Like The Killing Joke, that kind of thing. Whereas this is like, you know, your 7-page long comic book with a bunch of jokes in it, but it's still got some power and still got some stuff to it. Because, like, the Avengers... Age of Ultron, which is the next one, started being able to kind of poke fun at itself almost and like not take itself too seriously. Ant-Man didn't take itself too seriously. Winter Soldier had plenty of characters in it that didn't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, but I will say that I don't know if you remember Ultron very much, but that movie is
no,
dark.
It is, but like there's enough stuff going on in it that it still relives some of this vibe. Like, even just through Ultron himself. Because, like...
Yeah, and you got James Spader with that fun voice and everything.
Great acting in it. He has the whole line about, like, I spent 5 minutes on the internet and decided the world needed to be destroyed. And people were just like, same.
It's weird motivation.
But whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it ushered in a new ushered in a new era of these movies. And especially in the last two we've gotten, we've really started to see that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So it did a lot for the series. If it had kept going in the direction of Dark World and Winter Soldier, I think it would have struggled eventually.
Yeah, and that's what DC's having troubles with right now. As of the time of this recording, Justice League just came out, which I haven't yet seen, but from what I can tell, it has a comic relief that really helps the series a lot. But it's still not enough.
That's the opposite of what I've heard. I've heard is it tried way too hard to be funny.
We're just gonna have to see
like I've heard a lot of people say that it just tried way too hard to be funny. And like there was a while where they were just hiding the Rotten Tomatoes score for Justice League.
Oh, anytime a studio has the Rotten Tomatoes under like 65, they're like
and they didn't release it until Wednesday before it came out.
Yeah,
like and
it was doing decent then, and now
it dropped. At one point, I saw it at 35.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like at this point they're just because it has slowly climbed. I think DC is probably just paying people to review it well.
I don't think so. I think what happened with this, we have to see it so that we can form our own opinion. Because I don't want to not, but this is actually one of those rare times, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is one of those rare times where a movie comes out and like the hive mentality doesn't take over. Like it is, I've seen some serious fluctuation where it's gone, I think as high as like 55 and then dropped down to 35 and now it's up at like 40. And it was even going up and down that day. And like critics are able to watch this movie, from what I can tell, and form their own opinion about it. As opposed to being like, everybody agrees this movie is stupid.
Sure. But DC's in a dark period right now because they're sitting here thinking like, we brought in a ringer. We hired Christopher Nolan to make the Dark Knight trilogy. And now it's over. He's gone. He's not coming back. Like, we're not going to do any more of those. What in God's name do we do?
Well, and then they brought in the director from... They had Zack Snyder for Man of Steel. And then they had freaking... What's his name?
I don't know.
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon did it? He's not the Marvel guy. He just did the Avengers.
Yeah, but
he's done a lot of movies. I don't know. I mean, I'll see it, but like, I'm not excited for it.
I'll see it. I'll pay money for it. I'll go to the theater and watch it.
We would have, if we had kept it on the direction, I say we, like I'm involved in this. Like I've got Kevin Feige on speed dial. Just being like, hey, Kev, I really think we should take a different direction with these next few movies.
Maybe get rid of the sepia tone.
Yeah.
Maybe regular daylight.
Yeah.
You thought about that.
But if we kept down the direction of Iron Man 3, Dark World, and the Winter Soldier, I think we would have ended up very like DC. Because the Avengers was obviously a huge success, like roaring success. It made $1.5 billion. Like it did well. And then we've seen like a slow decline of like sales after it, even to this movie. So like, I don't...
And nothing could compete with it. People were like, I'm ready to be done with it. And Marvel was like,
we got 10 more of these.
You ain't. We got at least.
We got 10 more of these up to this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so let's do some power rankings. So villain, Ronin.
I think, where was the Mandarin?
Low.
Really? Because he's the same
He's so
villain.
much better, though. He's better executed. Well, no, with the Mandarin, we did Aldrich Killian, not the Mandarin.
Gotcha. Well, it's because the turn in that movie was awful.
So he was low. And I still don't know where anything falls. I haven't fulfilled my promise to go back and listen and figure out where the villains go.
Is he better than Chris Eccleston? Okay, I think he was pretty low on our list.
He's better than Abomination. He's better than Aldrich Killian. He's better than Whiplash. Probably better than Obadiah Stane.
Oh, yeah.
Not better than Loki, I don't think. I put him right along with the Red Skull. He's like pretty much the Red Skull.
Yeah. I give him, what's your 1 out of 10 on him?
I give like a 6.5.
Yeah, I was thinking like 7.
like
So
definitely positive, but not overwhelmingly positive.
Right. I mean, he
right, because he was very much like a one movie villain. He didn't have a ton of motivation other than like, I want Xandar to die.
Another cheap Xandarian knockoff.
A joke hasn't stopped being funny yet. It's probably not funny to everybody listening, but it's hilarious to me. I like
too. Laughing. Laughing's fun.
So yeah, I'll put him a solid. I could go with 7. I'll agree to 7.
Yeah. The movie, I think. Ranking. I mean, outside.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm just gonna say it. Third place, right behind the Avengers.
Yeah, it's better than both of the Captain America.
And honestly,
movies.
It's because of what it did for the series.
It makes you laugh. It makes you cry. I think it's easier for comedy characters to make you laugh or to make you cry. Because in like attraction world, somebody will be more attracted to you if you make them laugh.
It's easy for comedy characters to make you cry because it's like a betrayal. Like you and I had this code. We decided you were going to make me laugh. You were going to do the funny thing. And you're not doing the funny thing. You're not delivering. You're giving me this depressing, sad thing where your mom had a note and she called you Star-Lord. And Groot died.
Dead.
Well, he's not dead. He's dancing.
Yeah, but Groot sacrificed himself.
We are Groot.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty easy to
Third place, which I've proven myself wrong twice now. LOL.
It drops Captain America.
It drops Captain America. Yep. It drops the one.
I guess it drops everything except for Marvel, except for the Avengers.
But like I said that thing where I was like, all of the Phase 2 movies are going to slot right in between these two. And I've been wrong twice. Because Dark World was terrible and this was great.
I wish Dark World wasn't bad.
Me too. I wanted to love it. Because it was right after I saw Korg Ragnarok and I wanted to love it so bad. But I didn't.
So that's where that ranks. That was a pretty easy call.
Give me a breakfast food.
I was just about to ask you to give me a breakfast food.
This is a tough one.
Is it?
Yeah, like it's got old fashioned in the title. Whatever it is.
Oh man, no. This is the cure to the Avengers hangover. This is an easy call. This is a cure to the Avengers hangover. You know what that means? It is not just covered in chunked hash browns. It's also peanut butter waffle at Waffle House. This is an easy call.
I agree with that. Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
Black coffee.
You nailed it. Nah.
Yeah.
Coke. Coca-Cola. There's nothing better for a hangover than a regular Coke.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's exactly what this is. We're done with the hangover.
Covered in chunked hash browns and a peanut butter waffle. You're exactly right. Yep. Exactly right. That was easy. That was surprising. I'm glad. I'm proud of you.
I mean, what's the best hangover cure? That's what we got right here.
I mean, the best hangover cure is like a Red Robin Tavern.
No, the best hangover cure is like a dozen tacos from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
All Doritos Locos. Fun fact, there's a correct answer about what kind of Dorito is best. It's nacho cheese. If you argue with me, I will literally fight you.
Hold on. Which kind of Dorito is best or which kind of DLT is best?
Just Dorito.
Because I have a different answer for this.
You buy chips. I do too. The DLT is the Cool Ranch.
No,
every day of the week.
Opposite. The Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Taco can burn in the fires of heck.
Are you hecking kidding me?
I am not hecking kidding
you.
No. The Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Taco is terrible.
Are you going to say the Cool Ranch Doritos are better than nacho cheese?
But no, the superior Dorito flavor is that like sweet spicy nacho. Yeah, but between the classics, Cool Ranch is better. Cool Ranch has more flavor. 100%. It's just got like a better flavor to eat.
I could not disagree more. I really couldn't. Honestly,
nacho cheese Doritos smell funny.
I agree. Doritos in general are like the grossest thing.
No, I mean I'll take a salt and vinegar chip over a Dorito 100,000 times out of.
I will take dill pickle Pringles over most. Foods.
I thought you were about to disparage dill pickle Pringles.
No, those are amazing. How did they do that?
They don't even really taste like pickle. They just taste like awesome. Now, be careful because like you get some of those salt and vinegar chips, like the Utz salt and vinegar that come in the green and yellow bag. And man, you eat one of those and it's like getting kicked in the face.
I will kick you in the face if you
ever eaten a salt and vinegar
I'll just kick you in the face.
Hurts.
Yeah, it burns the roof of your mouth.
And like
does that ever happen
the corners of your mouth start to hurt after a while.
Yep. I know exactly.
You eat like 7 of them, and you're like, ow. That's Utz. That's Utz salt and vinegar chips. The superior salt and vinegar chip, in case somebody's wondering, is Lay's. Pringles don't have enough flavor. Utz has too many flavors.
The superior chip I've learned recently is the Pringle. Just in general.
It's because they're not even like potato chips. They're like potato dust formed into chips.
So good. And the flavors are all good. It's not even like you go to get a gimmick of those and you're like, oh, this is
too many.
mistake.
I don't like the cheese. The one you were talking about earlier, the cheddar cheese.
It's not my favorite.
But
I have them right now.
I ate when I was a kid. My only flavor of Pringle I liked was pizza, and I can't eat them anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they just like they taste like long car rides.
I know that.
But like not
That's
like
McDonald's fries
for
me.
Road trip.
That's actually McDonald's breakfast for me.
Yeah, not like a road trip. Like that I'm driving and you and I are going to Florida. Like I'm stuck in the back of a car by myself on the way to like visit my dad's friends in New York. That's what that tastes like to me is pizza Pringles.
Well, I think we are ready to wrap up, Ethan. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening this week to our episode of Bacon and Eggs. Next week, we're still in phase 2, right?
Yes. Two more movies in phase 2.
2 more? I totally missed that. What are
they? They are Age of Ultron, which is the next one, and then Ant-Man.
Who would have thought that made it in?
Well, the first 2 were 6 movies, and they probably made that and Age of Ultron in the wrong order, honestly.
Yeah, but Ant-Man's not in Age of Ultron.
No, but like, I think he could have been, or they could have just left him out. I think they could have made Ant-Man first.
I agree. I totally agree. But anyway, our next 2 movies are going to be, it sounds like Age of Ultron, which is cool, and Ant-Man, which is one of my favorites.
We're going to finish out phase 2, and then, much to the joy of some of our listeners, a small subset of our listeners, we're going to move on from Marvel for a few minutes.
Yeah, for December and parts of, I think, of January, we're actually going to do some other things,
and we'll get back into phase 3 about 6 weeks before Black Panther.
I do believe there is going to be an audience choice episode coming up. I could be totally
somewhere
wrong.
In there, I'll figure something out.
So there'll be links to that in the Facebook group on how we're going to.
We will also
choose that,
have a replacement tie.
Yeah, so during my honeymoon, somebody will be subbing in for me, and we don't.
You'll find out that week.
Well, you'll probably find out sooner. We'll probably tell you sooner.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, you'll find out when we know, at least.
Hopefully, we'll find that we know before day of.
But we do have some. We'll figure it out.
But there's going to be a replacement tie for the honeymoon. He's getting married, and I'll be all by my onesie. I'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying. That's the thing. It's going to happen.
You're saying you could go on without me?
No, I'm saying that I can live without you and make it.
That I don't even matter.
No, I'm saying I can make it work with somebody else for 1 week.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And then we're going to do Star Wars.
Is that next?
No, but that's after Christmas.
Oh, you mean during Christmas break. Yeah, we're going to do the Star Wars episode. We're going to have all that good stuff. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Ethan is at Wow Now. The O's are zeros. I am at AmeriCarlin. That is America, RLIN.
Both of us at Baconandeggs23 on Twitter.
You can also join our Facebook group, which we love. It is our favorite thing ever. It's the best way to meet and talk with people. It's like 13 members right now. Yep. I think it was a 12 at the start of this episode.
There's a link in the doobly-doo.
Yep, and that is honestly the best way to interact with us. That's how you get to vote on stuff and get to be a part of things. Additionally, we did launch our Patreon today. You can go to patreon.com. Any little bit helps. We would love to produce this show, but it's not free. And it does take a lot of time, and we'd love to continue to be able to produce it for you.
At the highest possible quality.
Just throw $1 a month our way.
Every little bit goes a long way.
Additionally, our graphics are all produced by Vashaun Brandon. He did the original logo for us. If you'd like to get in contact with him for any business, just shoot us an email at baconandeggsmedia@gmail.com. We'll be happy to get you his contact information. Yes. He's super easy to work with. Best man we've ever known.
Absolutely.
He's in my wedding.
Until next time, people, this has been great. I had a lot of fun recording this episode with you, Tyler. Thank you for potting with me.
One last thing I want to note is last week we talked about Natasha Romanoff a lot, and we didn't even mention that we have a Canadian ambassador by the name of Natasha for the podcast. If you have any interest in being one of our ambassadors, it's a developing program, but just shoot us an email or reach out to us.
Preferably if you live in a different country or like the North Midwest.
Yeah. But really anybody. If you want to be a Bacon and Eggs ambassador, we want you to have that opportunity. Yeah. So let us know.
Especially if you're German.
Put together a program for you. Final thoughts? Final notes?
No, I got nothing, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great episode. I think we really knocked this one out of the park.
I agree. Bryce Harpered this thing.
Bryce Harpered it. Yep, just really locked into it. Anyway, I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin. Until next time, arrivederci.
Ask a silly question and you get a silly answer.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die.